Hi.
Short Bus Debate Club. It's a bus rolling.
I can get on board. Hello, I'm Darren Jolly.
It's time to get this short bus started. So let's roll and on with the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Short Bus Debate Club. This is Brian Courtney. Of course, I've got Darren Jolly here with me.
Hello.
And today, being Wednesday, we're going to take a lighter note and talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2022. The good, the bad, and the ugly, as far as I'm concerned, or we're concerned. I don't know if you guys watched it or not. I've been watching it since, I think, 2013.
You watched every one of them all the way through since 2013?
Yeah, it's a great fucking show, dude. I mean, I love it because they do really cool shit. Like, so whoever is getting inducted might sing their song with whoever introduced them. But then, like, at the end, when all of the inductees and all of the people that introduced them and everybody is gathered together, they all fucking jam out, and I don't know how they pick the song or songs, but it's all of these fucking people singing whatever. So it's a great show. The only thing I can think of that really irritated me was when Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band got inducted. And the only reason it bothered me is because there were like 13 of the motherfuckers. And every one of them had to give a speech. So it took like 45 fucking minutes for him to get through.
Who?
Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
Everybody in the E Street
Everybody.
Band? That's a big fucking band.
What's his name from The Sopranos was there. I mean, they were all there.
Did he look like The Sopranos, or did he?
No, he still had the fucking slick back hair. He just didn't have the guinea suit.
Well, if he was gonna go up there, he should have put that headband on that he used to have when he played in that band.
I think he might have had the headband, but I know he had the fucking big.
What's his fucking name? What's his?
Steve. Fuck.
Why can't I remember his name? Van Zandt?
Yeah, okay. Steven Van Zandt.
I knew it was something that had to do with Leonard Skinner.
I always think of Leonard Skinner when you say Van Zandt too, but that was really the only time, and it wasn't because I don't think that they deserve to be in there.
But before we were talking here, you said
I hate Bruce Springsteen. Yeah. I do. I fucking hate him. Born in the USA, worst fucking song ever.
Yeah, I'm not a big nationalist either. And when you use the United States like the jingoism, which is essentially what he's doing in that moment. I mean, the Vietnam stuff, all that that's rooted in it. You're using it's a ploy, you know.
I was going to ask if you thought it would be because, I mean, do you say something like that in order just to, make your song number one for 58 weeks or however long it was? I made up the 58 weeks thing.
It was a long time, though. He was a New
Jersey. Do you sell a lot of fucking albums just because of that?
If there's one thing that I don't like about him is he is a New Jersey All-American person. Like, obviously you and I are never going to buy into that, and don't take that as, our relationship to our past, our present, our future, our history is complicated, right? We don't, like we've talked about many times, we have like an emotional attachment to the history, just like anybody else does. But we're also incredibly critical of it because we think that the only way that you can get better is to be honest about it, to be critical, self-critical, and you rectify your situations, you grow, you develop. But yeah, Bruce Springsteen, I mean, it was a ploy. It was bullshit, you want to know something funny? That was the first cassette tape I ever had. I got it for Christmas one year.
Nice. I think my first cassette was Purple Rain.
That's a good one. Now, Doe had that one, and we borrowed it from her a lot. We kept playing Darlin' Nikki over and over again.
Yeah, my mom wasn't a big fan of me playing Darlin' Nikki, but that's okay. Either way. Yeah, so, I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, it's a great fucking show. And this year, a lot of solid fucking artists got inducted. Some of them, as far as I'm concerned, got overlooked after their nomination. So here's something that is interesting. Duran Duran, and I can't remember which dude said it, but when he got up there, he said thank you, and I just want to let you know that, you know, our influences were the Beatles, solid influence. Bowie,
you can see that
again, solid. Yeah. Susie Sue.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
And the New York Dolls. So they had kind of a punk vibe to them. I think they probably went to new wave because that's the way all of the producers were going at that time.
Well, they were coming out at the time where, like, because they were sort of like New Order and some of those other bands. They were a couple of years after.
Well, they were founded in 1978.
Yeah.
So that would have been right about the time punk started in England.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the CBGB scene
and was, kind of the United States too. But I mean, it was getting really big in England, you know, with fucking the Sex Pistols and all of that shit that was going on over there.
G.G. Allen, I think, was playing
and Susie Sue and Billy Idol. Billy Idol was punk rock, and he was around in that scene back then.
Really?
Fucking A. He loved Susie Sue, and you can see, I can't remember which documentary I was watching, but it showed them playing little clubs, and they panned around and they showed Susie Sue in the audience, and then they showed Billy Idol in the audience, and they just kept showing all of these people. But anyway, you know, Billy Idol kind of went more new wave.
Yeah.
Susie Sue, obviously, and the Banshees, I don't know if you would consider them new wave or not.
I mean, there's no doubt that they're new wave, but they would push a lot of limits. Like, she's a fucking cuckoo bird. And that's was Bjork? Was she the front?
No, Susie was the front. That's why they called it Susie Sue and the Banshees.
I'm crossing something over there. The wire's crossed.
You fucked me up there. Obviously, Bowie, I don't think you can put a title on him.
No.
He's not new wave. He's not psychedelic. He's not pop. He's all of it.
And he's standing on the edge of history every time he's fucking doing something. Like, you take a song like, G.G. Allen was playing all the way back in 1974. That's fucking crazy. You take a song like the one that he did with Queen, Under Pressure. I mean, just so fucking brilliant. Or like, I was listening to, when I was coming home today, I was listening to a version of Comfortably Numb that he did where he sang the verses and Eddie Vedder sang the chorus. And
that would be a good song.
Fucking awesome, dude. Like, David Bowie is just, he's just so tremendous, dude.
Well, and he's obviously in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, you know, Duran Duran, so according to the fan vote of 2022, Duran Duran almost fucking swept it.
Really?
I mean, I don't know how many people actually voted, but what does that say? What's the number on there? Can you read it?
Just under a million, 934, 880.
Okay, so that's the top, and it beats everybody by 100% almost.
Oh, wow, dude.
So they just fucking killed it, and they got nominated. Now, here's the reason that I kind of brought up their influences, is because this year, the New York Dolls were also nominated, as well as MC5, which MC5 was punk rock that started way back, you know, and I think they actually started in the 60s, but they were in Detroit, so they didn't get real big because it's Motor City 5. But the New York Dolls were nominated and were not inducted. And I think that is fucking horribly, horribly wrong since, and here's the thing. So you and I were talking before the show about like rappers being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Or country musicians for that matter. And I don't have an issue with that because there's a lot of rappers that I love. I mean, Run DMC, I was fucking solid with that. Jay-Z, I'm okay with. Eminem, I'm okay with, except for the fact that the New York Dolls have been around way fucking longer than Eminem.
Well,
They just didn't sell the albums.
This is the problem with music in general, though. Like, I love YouTube and platforms like that because it provides a space for people to like go into the history of it. But if you don't, like Jimi Hendrix's stuff, like they block it a lot. They will not allow a lot of that, and a lot of the live stuff. Like you want to introduce people to the history of fucking rock and roll.
Is that because of ownership rights?
Yeah, dude. And you want to let people see Jimmy. You want to let them see Jimmy live. You want to let them see Jimmy when him and fucking Jim Morrison ran together in fucking Paris or whatever, and that fucking was they recorded that. These are important. These allow you to see, and of course, Jimi Hendrix and the Doors were never going to not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but like there are these spaces, like these gaps, and like my favorite one from this one, of course, is Elizabeth Cotten, right? Like she was this black gal who she played guitar upside down, left-handed, like a motherfucking guitar genius, many years before fucking Jimi Hendrix did.
The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
Yeah, to quote a really fucking bad movie.
That's an awesome movie.
But if you do not know who Elizabeth Cotten is, and you love anything about like finger picking, playing the banjo, this woman is fucking incredible. She died in 1987. I had not heard of her until this, ever, not once. And I get into the fucking bluegrass stuff a ton. I find a lot of the things that, and if it's singer-songwriter stuff, but I had never heard of her. And just go to YouTube and just look up Elizabeth Cotten and listen to this lady. She is, but this is one of the sort of like shortcomings of the way that our society is rooted in spectacle and popularity so much that we don't even really know how to dig into history enough to really find out what our roots really are.
There's no fucking doubt about that. I mean, and I don't even want to tell you that I know.
I don't know who she was. Yeah.
I did too. I didn't know who she was. I was really fucking amazed because, there's a lot of, I don't know. I think Gary Clark Jr. might be considered blues rock.
But he's progressive blues rock. Because
he's a fucking badass.
He takes things in some different directions, yeah.
But to hear him give her those accolades was amazing to me. And if she died in 1987, then I don't even know if he was fucking born yet. I know that
he'd have been a pup, that's for sure.
I know that Daryl Vaughn, it is Daryl, right? Stevie Ray's brother?
No, that's Jesus Christ. I can't remember. It's not Daryl. It's
we talked about it on another
Jimmy Vaughn. Jimmy Vaughn it is.
Okay, yeah. So Jimmy Vaughn talked about Gary Clark Jr. hanging around the bars on 2nd or 3rd Street, whatever it is in Austin, like as a 5-year-old.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
That's awesome, dude.
So I think I understand where
he was 3 years old when she died.
Okay, so obviously he didn't know who she was then, but
boy, I'm sure he liked her the second he heard her, though.
Yeah, I mean it's some amazing shit, but there were a lot of people. So we were going to talk about mainly musicians, but I want to kind of get something out of the way because I might talk a lot about the musician part. So Jimmy Iovine was a producer, sound engineer, and he was inducted as a producer. They give this special award. It's called the Ahmet something award to producers, and he got it. I think he deserved it. With
you think
again with what he did, just if you consider him with a sound engineer because you did all of the research and looked at all of the records that he was on as the engineer. The Patti Smith stuff probably alone does it.
He worked with Tom Petty and U2. He did the rattle and hum album with them.
Well, and he was banging Stevie Nicks for a while.
Well, a lot of people were banging Stevie Nicks for a while. A lot of people were doing coke off of out of her belly button and banging her.
Well,
she was a have fun girl. We've been over this before. Sluts, all around.
But she gave him credit, and maybe that's why she started banging him, because he hooked her up with Tom Petty, where they did that duet, and she said that launched her solo career.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That was a cool song. So, but I mean, for Interscope, because that's where, like, the real production stuff, he signed Tupac. He funded fucking Death Row Records, so fucking he created the space for Dre and Snoop. I mean, fucking Eminem. I mean,
50 Cent.
He's a motherfucker.
All of them, but that's what he was doing, and that's so. He would hire somebody like Dre.
Yeah.
And Dre was already a producer, and so Dre would teach the people that he brought on to produce, and then they would keep doing it. It was like this almost a multi-level marketing thing. I mean, it was fucking genius, dude, because they just kept producing badass fucking records that sold like crazy.
Dude, after the Chronic came out, which was a fucking cool album, dude. And fucking he had Snoop on there, and those little, and then fucking the first Snoop Dogg fucking album. It's just incredible. Like, you think about, look at somebody like Jimmy Iovine, and you look at who he started with, and then you look at who he ended with. I mean, and like, that means that the guy just fucking loved music and had vision for it. And this is where, when you come with the concept of like a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like, the thing that's the most important thing about music is it starts with the rhythm. It starts with the drum beat. But it's something that crosses over. There are no boundaries. There are no borders. I mean, hopefully, I mean, and Jimmy Iovine was a fucking a demonstrator of, I am not going to be stuck in any boundaries.
He did a hell of a job, and now he can have any fucking person around him he wants, I'm guessing, with as much money as he's got.
I don't think he does much anymore, though, does he?
Beats the fuck out of me. I'm guessing if he's got $4.5 billion, he does whatever the fuck he wants.
That was half of $9 billion for Beats, right? Because that's what they sold Beats off for, was $9 billion. And then fucking Dre going. I wonder who really developed the technology for. Did they get
some fucking asshole in China?
Yeah, I don't think that they got a good cut. I think that Dre and Jimmy Iovine did not include that person for their technological innovations. But I mean, this is just conjecture. I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe they did give him a percentage.
Yeah,
and maybe it wasn't somebody in China.
It's the same percentage that kid got on that Facebook movie before that he took him to court and sued him for everything.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, the guy who gave the dipshit that owns Facebook.
Oh, you mean the movie about Facebook, not a Facebook movie?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They watered down his stock to where it was worth like
completely
0.037% of the company.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I don't know. I mean, I've never met either Dr. Dre or Jimmy Iovine.
Or the person who, in China or Japan or
Correct.
South Korea or wherever it was, that they developed that technological wonder of Beats headphones.
So the other producers that I want to talk about.
We might have a negative politically or correct response on that one. Sorry, go ahead.
Are Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And they were on there mainly for the stuff they did for Janet. And basically, as far as I'm concerned, and really as far as Janet is concerned, they are the reason that Janet blew up the way that she did.
All of her big production albums, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not just for Janet, though.
It was. They have produced a lot of other records besides Janet, but I'm pretty sure
that pushes them out to the front. That's for sure.
I'm pretty sure that's why they were there.
They work with everybody, though, man.
They did.
They worked with. I mean, they played with Morrissey at the time. They produced stuff for the time.
And they learned a lot from Prince.
They worked with Herb Alpert, TLC, Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, Boyz II Men, Prince.
Oh yeah, they did that one Michael Jackson album. I forgot about that.
They fucking have.
And they did Faith.
Did they do Faith?
I think that's the George Michael one that they did.
That's the biggest fucking song that guy ever had.
No, I mean the whole album though.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they did the album, they did the song,
Sorry. Yes, the single was on there. Yeah. So those guys, and I don't know, like, when you talk about a producer, generally it's one guy. So I don't know, like, how I feel about a production team, but I would say that these guys are, because I think in music that there are producers that put a credit on an album so that they get a percentage. And then there are producers that actually do something to make the album better. And so that they deserve a percentage. Because if you're just a producer that just sits there, then you're nothing but a fucking sound engineer, right?
Yes. You're not really a producer then, though.
Right.
You're like Jimmy Iovine at the beginning.
Yeah. So if you're just sitting there and, punching track buttons, you're not improving anything. Whether you're telling them we need to add this or go higher there or, whatever. Do something to make it happen. And, from what Janet Jackson said, these guys did that.
Sometimes I wish that I could be like a fly on the wall in those spaces, because like when I was working at Sam Goody for all that time, back when you worked with me for a little bit that Christmas, when I had to listen to Brian Frost's bullshit about music all the time, like he would show me say a series of records that were produced by like Daniel Lanois or Steve Lillywhite or Jerry Harrison from Talking Heads. And he would we'd listen to like a couple of albums that Jerry Harrison produced, right? And we'd listen to Live, right? Throwing Copper. And then we'd listen to the Crash Test Dummies, like both of their first two albums, right? So whether you like them or not, the interesting thing about the albums that Jerry Harrison would produce would be the vocal capabilities of the frontmen on those albums and these little intricacies that they would put in place. Steve Lillywhite was very similar. Like he produced albums for Dave Matthews. They actually produced an album for Fish, but a lot of people in that general genre like that.
So are we talking about like throwing an echo on the voice or making it higher, lower with a machine?
You were talking to me earlier about how you would use your Bose. It's one of those things to where like to really get into the nuts and bolts of it, you have to just sit there and listen to those albums like over and over and over again, to where you start to hear the levels of what to where you like have like there was in Theme from the Bottom on Fish, there are 4 guitar tracks during these different parts, right? Fish did not do that very often. Like having Steve Lillywhite come in and produce an album like that, because he overproduces stuff. Now, I don't have a problem with it because he like the way that he did it. That's actually my favorite album by Fish is the one that he produced. I can't fucking remember.
So do you consider overproduction like just extra shit you don't need, or is that what earns you the money?
I like live music, so you can't like the things that you do in the studio when you have 4 guitar tracks there like that, and like I don't need to hear a live thing the same way that. But when I listen to what Steve Lillywhite does, like that or Crash by Dave Matthews, like there are just these things the drum does here and there. Like there's a crispness sometimes to the snare that's different, but again, you have to have those fucking headphones on and you just sort of let it run over you. But I mean, this is what you're talking about, like where they're like, there's a reason why they kept making successful people come out, because they did things, they drew things out of people, and they would layer certain things in a different way, and you hit a fucking a China cymbal or whatever, any number of fucking things, and it just brings like brings things to a different level. Essentially, production is important.
Well, it absolutely is. And, I think my favorite producer that I know of is Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin's a fucking genius. And you want to talk about a guy who's fucking just run the gamut. Like, he has produced every motherfucker under the fucking sun.
Yeah.
I mean, I could throw 16 more fucks in there and it would not, like, you. Rick Rubin's crazy genius.
Well, dude, and he just started off, with Def Jam in a fucking apartment with fucking Russell Simmons.
Is that how he?
Fucking
Seriously?
A, dude. And he did Run DMC, LL Cool J, the Beastie Boys. I mean, that's how they started.
Boom.
And now he's this fucking legend, dude.
Every fucking weird motherfucker, like, dude, like System of the Down, like he has done. I mean, like, you think about the names that you said it, and then you bring, like, how does that guy just loves fucking music? Like, he must. I was listening to this podcast he was on the other day with this guy who's a really good buddy of Joe Rogan. I can't remember what his name is. He's a physicist guy that's just super fucking smart and a super fucking hippie, and he just wanders around and tries to get everybody to talk and be nice to each other. But he talked to Rick Rubin for like 3 hours, and Rick Rubin is just there, dude. Like, he knows how to be there in the middle of it and just be like, let me just pull this shit out of you,
Dude, I'm just looking at all of his shit right now. The Chili Peppers, Phil Spector.
That's right. He did Blood Sugar
Petty,
Sex Magic.
Neil Diamond. I mean, the Dixie Chicks, which I don't fucking like them, and they're called something else now. Dixie.
Because they got so much shit for talking shit about being right about talking shit about going to fucking war in Iraq. Come on, bitches. Hang on to your fucking thought processes. Stand up and tell them to fuck off a little bit stronger.
Metallica, Weezer.
Which Metallica did they do?
I don't know. It just says Metallica. I mean, I'm not looking at an album or a discography. I was just looking at...
Dude, he touched a lot of fucking people, dude. He is a smart motherfucker.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he's already in there. But
we've been going crazy on production.
Yeah, so with regard to the musicians, in order to be eligible for a nomination, an individual or artist or band must have released its first commercial recording at least 25 years prior to their nomination.
That's so funny that man produced his first release 25 years ago.
I know, it fucking blows my mind.
Like, Pat Benatar makes sense, and her husband, like, that makes sense. He's a good fucking guitar player, dude.
She looked fucking good for as old as she is.
And she sounded fucking awesome, dude. She sounded tremendous. She's got some pipes still, just like Dolly.
So here were the nominees this year: Beck, Pat Benatar.
Beck is a musical genius.
Fucking A. And I was going to talk about that in a minute, but I wanted to kind of get through the list.
Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I mean, he is brilliant, and I've got so much of his shit on my MP3 player that I think I've got every one of his albums, but I'm not sure. My favorite is Wero. Pat Benatar, Kate Bush, Devo, Duran Duran, Eminem, the Eurythmics, Judas Priest, and I may be mispronouncing this, but Fela Kuti, MC5, which is Motor City 5, the New York Dolls, Dolly Parton, Rage Against the Machine, Lionel Richie, Carly Simon, A Tribe Called Quest, and Dionne Warwick.
I love Tribe.
Well, yeah, that was another thing I was going to talk about. So I understand these fan numbers. And I don't know exactly how the nomination and the voting works and who actually gets in. The rules weren't quite clear. Like, one guy from the hall a few years ago said there was a panel of 12 people that did the nominations. I read somewhere else that it was a panel of 28. So it wasn't real clear how the nominations come about. And then it was definitely unclear who actually gets voted in.
Yeah.
Most of these guys that got in, I think probably deserve to be there. I fucking love the Eurythmics, Annie Lennox, as
Fucking
far as
awesome.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
dude, if you don't love the Eurythmics, then you don't have a fucking heartbeat. You can fuck yourself. Sorry.
No, it's cool. I mean, I think so. Out of the nominees, though, Duran Duran got in, Eminem got in, Pat Benatar, the Eurythmics, Dolly Parton, Judas Priest, screaming for vengeance. Carly Simon.
That's the first time I've ever heard you sing in the show. That's pretty good. Carly Simon, yeah.
And Lionel Richie. So
hello.
Lionel Richie, but
he's important.
Maybe important. I don't know. That's the problem that I've got is that like all those other guys, the New York Dolls, MC5, fucking Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, Rage, dude. Yeah.
Devo.
I'm not gonna hate on Dionne Warwick too. She's important. And dude, Tribe
Called Quest, as far as I'm concerned, should have gotten in before Eminem got in.
Yes, I've seen Tribe 3 times. I've seen them with Beastie Boys all 3 times. You never seen so many fucking white people bouncing as you do at a fucking Tribe show. And Q-Tip's dead now, and I am sad for that. And like, part of the reason why I love to listen to Tribe still is because when you listen to it, it's before we have been prohibited from saying the N-word in absolute terms. And fuck y'all and your political correctness. Like sometimes.
What's the N-word?
Nigga.
That N-word.
But like when you listen to Midnight Marauders,
Q-Tip's not dead, dude.
I thought Q-Tip died.
One of the guys from Tribe had cancer. I just watched a fucking documentary on him.
I heard he died. I must have.
Was it Rife? Somebody moved to fucking Atlanta, and
everybody moved to Atlanta.
Q-Tip's still in New York, I thought.
I can't believe that. I thought he died, dude. I thought I'd heard something or read something, or I was listening to something, and like on Sirius one day, and that he was done for.
I'm pretty sure he's still alive, but one of them was really fucking sick.
Yeah, he's definitely. Maybe it was him. Maybe he got really sick and then he didn't die. So maybe they assumed he was gonna die. I'm glad he's not dead, dude. I fucking love Tribe, dude. But those shows were so much fun. Like the last show that I saw them at, we went with Dustin went. Connor.
No, it was Five Dog that's
dead.
Five
Dog died. Okay.
So he died in 2016.
Okay, I got I've had my wires crossed a couple times tonight, but we ended up in the same row as Connor's brother. Colin was at the show, and dude, they were just so much fun. Midnight Marauders is my favorite albums of all time. So yeah.
So Tribe should have gotten in before Eminem.
Yes, this is where it's when you have the popularity contest, like the kids that weren't listening to music in the '90s, and because gangster rap has such a bad rap, so to speak, which is wrong in my estimation. Like not all gangster rap
Tribe isn't really gangster rap,
but they were from that time period. So like if a person listens like say like the Far Side. And what's the Mr. Wendell song? What's that band in Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Yeah, what's that band?
Take me back to where I want to be. Arrested
Development. Yes. So like you have that like that consciousness fucking rap, and then like they would kind of come up because they would talk a lot more shit. They would cuss a lot more, and they would say they were not gangster rap, but they were not like that.
They were more
rap.
Political.
Yes, yeah, but not political the same way that 911 is a joke in your town.
Public Enemy. But that's Chuck D.
Yeah. So but they really like you have a politicalness like of Tribe Called Quest and a politicalness of motherfucking Chuck D. And so they were. Kids just don't go back and look at it enough. They put things in categories right now. Everybody wants to be fucking politically correct,
See, I would consider Eminem more gangster rap than I would Tribe.
He hangs out with all those fucking guys too.
Well, and he fucking, I think he got busted for drugs a couple of times. He carries a gun, I'm pretty sure.
He definitely identifies with that side a lot more than with, like the Will Smith, fuck you, Will Smith thing.
Yeah. So I think Tribe should have got in before them. I think Rage Against the Machine should have got in. And I'm not just talking about Eminem, because Dolly Parton, and she's, again, important, but she's important to country music. Most people that are rock fans, and I understand that rock roots come from country and R&B and bluegrass, and it's all kind of this weird fucking mix. Dolly shouldn't have got in before Rage.
I got to disagree with you on that one.
Or Devo.
Only because, so part of the reason why you have somebody like Brandi Carlile on the stage right there, and I know you don't know her, but she's about 20 years into her career, and she has one of the most incredible vocal fucking like capabilities, and she is clearly like in the rock space, like firmly. But there's no doubt that she takes, even in the rock space, she takes massive amounts of influence from both and from country.
Okay, so maybe I'm thinking of it from a fan perspective then. Like, again,
I mean, she's an old ass lady, dude.
As far as country music goes, I mean, there are 3 people that I listen to: Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and Waylon Jennings. Yeah. That's it.
Three of the 4 highwaymen. You just don't like Chris Christopherson. You gotta fucking hate on Chris Christopherson.
Well, I don't know if I've ever heard a fucking Chris Christopherson song.
You don't like Lyle Lovett?
Not really.
Lyle Lovett's fucking awesome, dude. And he will go in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He might already be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
We can find out real quick.
I'm certain that we can.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong about the Dolly thing. I think the Devo thing, the Rage Against the Machine.
Devo should definitely fucking be in. Number fucking 1, Devo should fucking be in. Come on, whip it, man.
New York Dolls, Beck, MC5, and again, I apologize. I should have done some more research, but I don't know who the fuck Fela Kuti is.
Oh, so I got that for you actually. So he was a Nigerian. Hang on, let me pull this back up. Where did that go? Shit, I moved away from it. He was a Nigerian activist and musician, Fela Kuti. Dude, his fucking full name is something to fucking behold. He was a Nigerian musician, band leader, composer, political activist. He died in 1997, I think. But apparently had huge musical influences in other places. So, but a lot of his stuff came out of that space. His full name is Olufila Olusegun Oludotun Ransami Kuti. Yeah, I can't, not 3 times fast. That's not gonna fucking happen.
No, that's great, dude. So, like, how did he get in there? I mean, if he's like Nigerian or whatever, or did he have all of these influences on?
We're gonna have to dig deeper on another day on that one. All I could do was the quick Wikipedia. I mean, clearly he connected to some people, but on what level, who he played around with, there's no way of telling.
Okay, so Rick Rubin is not in there, which I swear I saw him get inducted, but I might have my fucking wires crossed. Who else was I looking for?
Lyle Lovett inducted Johnny Cash in 2019.
Lyle Lovett.
I can't fucking believe that Johnny Cash did not get inducted until 2019. Because, like, again, this is like, you take Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash. These are 2 guys that are incredible singer-songwriters. Everybody sings these guys' songs, dude. You have to. Dude, there's a whole version of rock and roll that's rooted in Johnny Cash's like attitude. Rockabilly is Johnny Cash standing there with that big fucking middle finger.
And rockabilly is badass.
Rockabilly and rockabilly's rock and fucking roll, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, well, dude, like I said, I mean, I fucking hate Hank Williams and his son. That music, that twangy fucking Conway Twitty type shit, I fucking hate it. And that's where Dolly Parton came up. I mean, that's the shit she was singing in the 60s. So that's why I kind of got away. What were you laughing about?
Did you really need to ask? I mean, did you listen to yourself? Conway Twitty, fucking Waylon Jennings. Have you listened to his no, that's Hank Williams, the third. Have you listened to his stuff at all?
Well,
He's got some dark rockabilly shit. You should listen to Hank Williams the third. That guy.
did you know Waylon Jennings has like a fucking grandson that's a rapper? He was at Red Rocks like 2 months ago.
Really?
It's weird, dude. Adopted grandson or step grandson or some
so
shit.
There's no actual genetic connection. Okay. If there's a genetic connection, I'd have to think about it a little bit more. But
yeah, it fucking tripped me out when I found that out. Okay. So you're gonna say Dolly deserves to be there?
I think that she's got to be there. I think you got to let her be there. I think that I'd take her over Lionel Richie. I'd take her over Carly Simon.
I would too, but would you take her over Rage or Devo or Tribe?
No, I think
or
that,
Beck?
Like I said, with Beck, I mean, honestly, like if you're going to sit there and look at somebody who takes things to a different level, Beck takes things to a different level. Like I don't love Beck's music, but you have to listen to it because it does some things in a different way. It says some things in a different way. The dude's fucking smart. He's way fucking smarter than I am when it comes to music. That's for goddamn sure, which doesn't mean anything. But there's no doubt that, like, the problem with the popularity contest, which is essentially what we're suggesting here, is that it doesn't speak to the complexities of what it is that music offers us, you know? I mean, I'm a big jam band guy, and I know that a lot of the people that I love and listen to a ton are not ever gonna, they might get. I mean, if we live for another 30 or 40 years before we totally fucking destroy this planet and kill ourselves and each other, maybe they'll get inducted into this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But I think probably not, because the fact of the matter is that and they're incredible innovators. I listened to Goose a ton lately. They're at the very beginning of their career. They're only 3 years into their career, but these guys are fucking driving things in a different direction than I've ever seen things being driven before.
That one female guitarist you were talking about when we did the guitar episode?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she'll be there.
Yeah, dude, she's fucking crazy. The kid, she's a child.
The husband, the wife and husband that play together. Oh, what the fuck? I apologize to all of you listening.
You're
I'm
talking about
dead.
the blues lady.
I think it starts with a K.
Well, it's the kid that used to fucking play with the Allman Brothers and Derek Trucks and the female Tedeschi, Susan Tedeschi and Derek
That's
Trucks.
the one.
Yeah, dude.
She'll be there.
Yeah, she will be there. And Derek Trucks, the first time I saw him play live was 1995, and I think that he was 15 or 16 at that time. Yeah, that guy's a fucking monster.
So I just looked, and I apologize. I probably don't have every Beck album, but I do have 5 Beck albums. I've got Wero, Mellow Gold, Odelay, Sea Change, and The Information. The Information is probably the worst out of those fucking albums, as far as I'm concerned, but it might be the most innovative. I'm not sure.
But this is where things, like, sometimes things are not very popular, and they just fall to the wayside. What is the name of that goofy ass band? Ween. Like, Ween is a crazy, weird, goofy. Otherwise, they're gonna block us.
There we go.
Okay.
Que onda, Wero? That's one of his best songs, by the way.
Dude, he's smart, dude. He knows how to mix shit. He knows how to play every fucking instrument under the sun.
Well, and I think, so we talked about Tribe being political, maybe historical political or racial political.
I think both at the same time, like even in the present tense and in the past tense. Yeah.
Devo, the reason that I liked it, and obviously Whip It was their big, huge song, but they did a lot of that satire and the political shit and making fun of everything,
Yeah.
really. I mean, our society as a whole and what we're fucking up. The New York Dolls did. Obviously Rage Against the Machine does. So maybe I've got kind of a type.
They don't. Well, then they don't like the political shit. I mean, that's. But dude, Rage is important. Super fucking important. Like that when that fucking album hit the fucking ground. I remember like somebody told me to check it out, and I went and got the cassette, and I fucking listened to it 100 fucking times, and I ended up going to see um, Cypress Hill, and they opened up for him. That was a fucking awesome fucking show, dude. I remember like this kid Travis Little, he had fucking like big goofy red dreadlocks back then, and he's just bouncing around, and we're all just beating the shit out of each other in the mosh pit, and it was just so wonderful, so fucking delightful. And then of course they started pulling bong hits on the fucking stage, Cypress. After that, hits from the bong.
Well, yeah, that was the big album then. I personally prefer the second album, or maybe it was
the first
third
album. It was for Cypress.
Yeah.
No, it was the first one.
No, I know that was the one you went to the show.
Hits from the Bong was the second, and that was the second album. The first one had Pigs on it. It had Latin lingo on it. That was a fucking. Their first album was fucking awesome, man.
Well, I thought that was Dr. Green Thumb and all of that shit was on their first album, right?
I don't remember Dr. Green Thumb. The Insane in the Membrane. That was album 2. Hits from the Bong was album 2. Everything got really fucking commercial, smoke weed, fucking stupid ass shit in the second album. Their first album, Pigs and fucking Latin Lingo were fucking awesome songs. There's a couple other wonderful ones on there too, but there was just some really just made me feel good about.
So then it must be their third album with Rock Superstar on it.
That was Cypress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must have. I kind of moved because the second album was so like commercially goofy. I kind of when that happens, I lose. It's kind of like with The Simpsons, or The Family Guy. I remember watching the first 2 seasons of The Family Guy, and then they cut it right, and then they brought it back on. Never started watching it again. So it just bores the shit out of me when things start to become too overly commercial.
He's a funny guy though, that Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah. There's no doubt.
And he is political too, so I don't know
just a touch
like how much they have to cut their shit.
So was Matt Groening, to be sure.
Yeah.
They had Fish on fucking Simpson show once.
Really?
Yeah, Homer Simpson was jumped on the stage, I think, if I remember correctly.
Well, I know he had what the fuck, dude? I can't remember his name again, but they had that guy that. Never mind.
They had a Johnny Cash episode.
They had a Johnny Cash, but the one I'm thinking of is the guitar player. And Homer was talking to Marge about how much or maybe I'm thinking of the fucking Family Guy. Maybe my wires are crossed too. Anyway, so the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if you guys like music, I highly recommend watching the show. It's generally like 4 hours long, so kind of plan ahead.
It's cool to hear the story behind these people's lives, though.
And I'm going to recommend this. Cleveland is a shithole town. There's a lot of cool shit there, though, like old mob shit. You can find this dock where they fucking imported Canadian whiskey during Prohibition. So there is some cool shit there, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there. And I love museums as a whole, but that is the coolest fucking place I've ever been. I could have spent day after day there. And the person I went with probably wasn't as impressed as I was. Otherwise, I would have gone back on day 2 because there was just so much shit. I mean, there were fucking letters and letters and letters that Jimi Hendrix had written. There were fucking motorcycles that all of these bands had ridden, and guitars and fucking drum sets and shit that they wore on tour. And I mean, they had a full fucking CBGB fake thing. I mean, it was fucking badass. And there's, I think, 5 floors, if I remember correctly. And, obviously it's a museum, so there's different exhibits on every floor. So if you do like music, you like history of music, watch the show, go to Cleveland. Or both.
One other thing on the downside, they did a cool thing at the end of it where they were commemorating all the people that had died. Just one more shout out for Taylor Hawkins. Like that guy is a fucking incredible drummer. A lot of people died this year. People I did not fucking realize died this year. Coolio died this year.
Fucking How much money did he make off that one fucking song?
Dude, that was the only fucking hit that he had. He was in the show with where his brother's like a super genius, and he starts going to this private school, and he plays basketball at the fucking school. He meets Finding Forrester is the name of the movie. He meets
he wasn't in that movie.
Yes, he was. He was fucking the kid's brother.
That was Busta Rhymes.
Oh, well, that was Busta Rhymes. Shit. That's when somebody could.
Don't worry, they all look alike.
Why did you have to say it, dude? I was gonna say it, but I fucking put the stop on it. Sorry, Busta.
No,
you can give me some shit.
I like Busta Rhymes. His raps are really cool. I think that it looks like he shops at fucking one of Prince's garage sales.
Dude, they're very similar. They both only had one fucking hit,
But Busta did a lot of collaborations with other groups and other rappers. Like, if you listen to some different shit, you can always hear him shouting out.
Can you give me an example? No, I want to hear the shout.
No, I can't remember what any of them are, but I know he did some stuff with Ludacris.
Shout now. Shout now.
Fuck you. Okay, so we're at 51 minutes, and I really like talking about music, and we could probably do this for another fucking hour.
And now that I feel like a complete dick, we should probably end this thing.
By the way, I don't really think they all look alike.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I just think that Coolio and fucking Busta Rhymes looked a little bit alike. They had that weird beaded hair sometimes. Coolio had that fucking
Coolio had crazy fucking hair that was standing up all over the place.
Dude, go watch that fucking movie. That dude's hair was all over the place in that movie. When he starts talking about how I'm fucking parking attendant, blah, 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 blah.
And I make my money at the parking lot.
Yeah. That's it. You got it.
All right. So, again, I hope you enjoyed the show.
I'm sure that if some people listen to it, they're going to fucking either laugh their ass off or say, that's just another fucking racist white guy.
I'm not white, man.
I know you're Black Irish.
Right.
We've gone over this a long time ago. With a skin yarmulke. Which means that he's partly Hebrew at the same time.
That's correct.
Shalom.
I can tell all the jokes.
End this shit, motherfucker. End it. So
reach out.
Friday.
Email shortbusdebateclub@yahoo.com.
720-334-ROLL.
And on Friday, we are going to talk about the American Indian Children Welfare Act.
Yeah.
Aqua.
This is some fucked up shit. So this should be a good episode.
So check us out on Friday, and we will talk to you soon.
Hasta la vista from the racist white guy.
Talk to you later.